I love E3. This time of year is so amazing. You get to sit down and watch all these conferences and check out all the games that will be coming out not only this year, next year, and 2020. And after the bad taste that was left in my mouth yesterday from watching E3's press or E3, watching EA's press conference, man, it was nice to get that taste washed out of my mouth after watching an actual press conference that was impeccably paced with a ton of announcements. It was, quite frankly, the best Xbox show of this generation. And I'm not sure anybody would really disagree with me. What's going on, guys? I see you all in chat. What's up, Native? What's up, Oni Oni Oni? What's up, Super Devil? Benji, thanks for hanging out with me. Jez isn't going to be here. He's pretty busy and he has an appointment of some kind super early in the morning. So he couldn't join, but we'll obviously talk about this together on Wednesday when we do the Xbox 2 podcast. But this is going to be about Xbox's E3. Now, I was looking for a few things. Okay, I was looking for the actual action, no longer lip service of Microsoft investing in first party. I was looking for maybe a new IP. I was looking to see what exclusives we would be playing strictly from Xbox for the rest of the year for 2019 and maybe 2020. Now, we're going to get into a whole bunch of different things, but Microsoft clearly delivered on the promise of investing in Xbox and the first party. So all the people out there who say, oh my God, Xbox is going away. Xbox is nothing. They don't care about that stuff. Phil just says things so people can, like not leave the platform. Man, those people have to be a little bit salty today, as he really did confirm that Xbox is in it for the long haul and that they are truly, finally ready to build up first party to be on the level of a great games publisher. But let's actually start off with the first game that was shown, which was Halo Infinite. And I watched this in a party with a bunch of my friends. Shout out to Loveboat Gopher, Mr. Black Magic, DOA Head. We watched it all together. And normally, let me tell you, these guys are as cynical as they come. Some would say even more cynical than me. But, for the most part, they all love the show. So Halo Infinite, I didn't really get what it was or think it was a Halo game until they actually showed off the people in the ODST armor or the Marine armor. And I was like, okay, this is Halo. And then we saw the reveal for the helmet. It almost kind of looked like an open world Halo, which, hey, if you want to take Halo in a different direction, taking an open world might be interesting. But they called it Halo Infinite, not Halo 6. And quite frankly, they didn't even give a date. So definitely that game is a long way out. I think I said previously, I don't know if I said this in my predictions, I did say Halo wouldn't be there. But then later on, I kind of thought that Halo would be there as a CGI trailer and that would be a 2020 title. And it definitely kind of looks like a 2020 title with the fact that there's no date. But I'm interested in seeing how, Halo evolves. The fact that they're not calling it 6 is pretty interesting. Like, what is Infinite? Is it multiplayer? Is it single player? Is it co-op? I just want to see Halo return to the stature that it's always been. One of the biggest franchises in gaming. So I'll be sitting here with you guys trying to figure out what exactly Halo Infinite is. And maybe there's behind closed demos. People are playing it, maybe not. But then Phil Spencer got on stage, talked about, the whole spiel about gaming, this, that, and the other. And he said he'd be seeing 50 games, 18 exclusives, and 15 world premieres, which is very similar to last year. Last year, they showed 42 games, 21 exclusives. So right from the get-go, you're in for a pretty damn good show. And that's what this show had, was a ton of games. It pretty much just went game, short trailers, not a lot of demo stuff. So it was paced really good. They kept a tight flow throughout the entire presentation. And like I said, EA, you should take notes on how Microsoft does it because they are virtually similar in length, and EA's was just boring, while Microsoft's was exciting. Exciting, yes, for the first party announcements and the exclusives, but also exciting because we got to see some really great third party stuff. So it was a great press conference with great pacing. The presentation was pretty damn good. I really actually liked the stage up on, how the stage was all designed and stuff. The one game that didn't get shown that I wanted to see was Splinter Cell. I guess we'll have to wait till Ubisoft. That Walmart Canada leak hasn't been wrong yet, so we're gonna have to be seeing it tomorrow. We're gonna have to see it tomorrow. Now, after Phil came out and gave his spiel about gaming and all that stuff, they went into Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and this was the game I predicted was going to open the show. I was just a tad bit off because it was the second game they showed, and it still looks as amazing as ever. It's Ori is one of my favorite games on Xbox, period. I love that game. It means a lot to me. So to see the sequel, to see some gameplay, I know people are playing it on the show floor, so it's there. God, I cannot wait to play Ori and the Will of the Wisps. And I know a lot of you in chat will, it's honestly one of my most anticipated titles. I would put it right up there for me with a game like Last of Us 2. Honestly, that is no bullshit. That is just what that game means to me. I would have a hard time choosing between, hey, Rand, you can play Ori or you can play Last of Us 2. I would be pretty hard pressed to pick one. But those are my two most anticipated games of gaming, period. So the fact that it's there and we got to see some gameplay, God, I'm so excited to play that game. And so that was great. They moved on to From Software. They showed off Shadows Die Twice. This is also another game I nailed in my prediction video. Shadows Die Twice. They partnered up with Activision and obviously put the Bloodborne rumors to rest. Phil's talked about having more Japanese support, right? That's one of the things that is lacking on the console at the moment. There's not a lot of Japanese games because not a lot of Japanese games sell very well. So to see From Software, which come out there first and be like, hey, this is our game and it's going to be on the platform and it looks like a Tenchu game, looked really good. It honestly looked really good. And then to see Nier Automata come over and there's the Black Desert Online and Kingdom Hearts 3, and I'm trying to think if I remember, that Jump Force game. Phil's trying to do his best to get solid Japanese support for the system. And I think he's doing a pretty damn good job of it. So Sekiro, or whatever you want to call it, Shadows Die Twice. Interesting game. Looking forward to checking out in 2019. Although I have a feeling people are going to be a little disappointed that it's published by Activision. You know what I mean? That's kind of a weird move. But hopefully they don't get involved too much in it. Todd Howard then came out, talked about Fallout 76, said Fallout 4 was coming in Game Pass. The trailer was interesting. Fallout 76 looks cool, but they didn't really explain much of it. They just kind of gave a taste of it, which, to be fair, I didn't even think the game would show up because they have their own press conference later tonight. So the fact that they even teased it, I'm sure we'll get the full explanation of what Fallout 76 is tonight in a couple hours when Bethesda takes the show. So nice to see them there. Then you had The Awesome Adventure of Captain Spirit, which is set in the Life is Strange universe. Download for free on June 16th. Cool. I'll definitely check it out. I do like Life is Strange, but we don't really need to talk about that game. And we get to Crackdown, which that was an actually good trailer. They should have showed that trailer last year, but I'm wondering a little bit about Crackdown 3. Now, I've said before, you guys have been listening to me for a while on the channel, the podcast, and the videos. Crackdown's had some serious developmental problems. And I'm just wondering on what side of it is. I had heard it was the single-player stuff that was having issues. Other people have said it's the multiplayer stuff that's having issues. But either way, it's having issues. And to not see the cloud-based destruction again, 2 years in a row makes me wonder if the multiplayer stuff is what's wrong with the game. But Terry Crews actually elevated it. I'm glad Terry Crews was in the game and he's doing the voiceover for it. Made it seem really cool, but didn't really look that much more impressive than what it looked last year. Hopefully the game's much better when it comes out. I'm just kind of curious about the cloud destruction. Maybe they're showing that off during the show floor. Maybe it's shown off behind closed doors. But honestly, they didn't give us anything more than what they gave us last year. So I'm still kind of just sitting there. I was like, looks cool. I'll play it for sure. But what's up with the cloud? Is that really what's having the problem? Either way, it comes out February 2019, which is now absolutely packed. Absolutely packed. So I don't know. Like, you have Crackdown 3 coming out in February. You have Days Gone coming out in February 22nd. You have Anthem coming out on February 22nd. Now you add Metro Exodus. Metro Exodus is now coming out on February 22nd. I'm telling you guys, one of those games is moving. More than likely, 2 of those games are moving. All 3 of those games are not coming out on that day. I don't care who you are. Sony's either moving Days Gone forward or Days Gone back. Anthem's either getting delayed or Metro's moving. You can't have those 3 games come out on the same day. I don't care if they're all different games. I don't care if they're different demographics. You just can't do it because I honestly think they're very similar audiences. And I'm actually going to have a separate video talking about the War of February because it's not only going to be expensive, but I don't think all those games are launching. But Metro looked incredible. Metro's always looked incredible, hasn't it? Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light. Pick those up. They're on sale on Xbox now for like $7.50 for both of them. Grab those games because they're awesome and get kind of set up for Metro Exodus last year. For next year, I mean. So that was pretty cool. Nier Automata shown off as a trailer. Coming to Xbox in like 16 days. Of course, we talked about this before. Of course, people didn't believe me and believe the rumors, but it's true. Here we go with Nier Automata. I think it recently passed 3 million. Game looks cool. I'll definitely be checking it out, even though I have it on PlayStation. But I'll be able to play it on my X. And what do we have after that? Kingdom Hearts 3 for the first time on Xbox. Phil talked about like more Japanese support and how this game was a legendary franchise and gave a trailer. And they gave the release date of January 29, 2019. Man, next year, the beginning of next year is already getting absolutely jam-packed. Absolutely jam-packed. And it's just the beginning. And then, oh, here we go. So when Sea of Thieves showed up on stage, me and my buddies were like, oh God, here we go. Why Sea of Thieves? Why? But they showed off a pretty quick trailer. You see, and they used it well in the cutscenes, like with the voices and stuff. The thing was, it's like, man, I really wish those kind of cutscenes and that kind of story stuff was actually in the game. That would be pretty cool if that kind of things was in Sea of Thieves, but I guess it's not to be. They have 2 expansions coming out in July and September, if I recall correctly, like a new area, some like AI pirates and stuff. So the game's getting bigger. They are supporting it. They said there's 4 million players playing it, so obviously 2 million after 1 week, 4 million players, what is that, 4 months later. So it seems to be doing well for itself. People seem to like it. I'm just not sure if it'll be for me. But then again, in a year from now, Sea of Thieves might be a really different type of game. So that was there. Then they showed off Battlefield 5, and for whatever reason, I was expecting a gameplay demo. They didn't show much of Battlefield 5, did they? Like yesterday during EA's show, I was expecting them to be like, hey, here's our stuff. Here's the multiplayer. We have the story stuff shown off tomorrow at Xboxes, and we would see the trailer, like the demo, and it was literally like a 30-second trailer, Battlefield 5. I was like, that's weird. Like, I don't like you save that for Xbox? I don't know about that. That was a little bit disappointing, not seeing a campaign level of Battlefield 5. And then we got Forza Horizon 4 in the UK, which goes against all the rumors that people were reporting before that it was in Japan. It's in the UK. It looked phenomenal. It looked absolutely phenomenal. They're doing seasons, and they say it changes everything. It was one of the few gameplay demos they actually showed. The change of summer to winter to fall to spring, kind of a shared open world with like events. My first thought to my head was like, oh my god, this is like Destiny or something. Coming October 2nd and in Game Pass, and God, did that game look really well, like really amazing. Like I'm a big fan of Forza Horizon. I love Forza Horizon 3. I know the game's going to deliver. Just a tad bit sad we didn't get to see Japan, because I was thinking all the time, I was like, man, imagine what Japan would look like. But hey, they made Forza, they made the UK look really good. Excited to see what they do with this on October 2nd. Pumped to play another Forza Horizon. And then they showed that what was that? That huge hovercraft. God, that can't wait to do more of those type of events. And then we got what I would call the drop the moment segment. This is where everything came together. Now, I've said previously that I had always heard behind the scenes that Microsoft was spending a ton of money in preparation for next generation. I've said that for quite some time now. I said not to expect a lot of games, in the short term, but they are really building up, really gearing up for next generation. Microsoft and Satya really believe in Xbox and gaming in general, which is why Phil was promoted, which is why Terry Myerson is gone. And it's no coincidence that all of a sudden you have Xbox expanding first party. Now, this is what I wanted to see. It was one of the things I needed to see. The promise and the action of building a first party after years of talking about doing it. The talk is over. It is now done. Granted, they have to still make games, but they bought some really amazing developers here. So first off, they talk about how they're building a studio from the ground up. Daryl Gallagher's hired, just like it has been rumored and predicted, and I said in my video, he is heading a new studio in Santa Monica called The Initiative. No talk on what they're making, no talk on even a timeline, but it's happening. And considering his pedigree, being as someone who was in charge of Crystal Dynamics during the Tomb Raider reboot and all the different games he's had his fingers in, I have a good feeling about that studio. I think it's going to create something pretty cool. And next up, they bought Undead Labs, the developer who just recently shipped State of Decay 2, basically almost confirming a State of Decay 3 in my eyes. Microsoft seems to be pretty happy with the game. They announced 2 million players. And honestly, now I'm thinking about what State of Decay 2 could have been like if Undead Labs was actually part of the stable when building it. Now, instead of a team of 30 people with a budget that's not good, now they have the entirety of Microsoft behind them with all the money in the world to be able to hire new developers. I honestly think State of Decay 3 is going to be pretty damn good when it comes out, probably in a couple years. And honestly, it wasn't even something I thought was going to happen. We kind of knew of The Initiative, the Daryl Gallagher studio, but the Undead Labs one came out of left field. Then they announced the one that we recently talked about, and that is Playground Games. Did a video about that recently. All the signs were there. All the evidence was there that they were buying Playground Games, and sure enough, they did. They said they're shipping Forza Horizon 4 and that they are working on an open world RPG of some kind, but they'll talk about that later. You know, it's Fable. I've said it's Fable. Other websites have said it's Fable. I also said they weren't going to show it, and it wasn't here. They didn't show Fable. But the idea that Playground Games is now going to be working exclusively on Xbox games is pretty awesome, considering the fact that they're a really, really good developer. The Forza Horizon games are amazing. And they're hiring great talent to make their open world RPG. So Playground, honestly, in my opinion, becomes like almost the best studio that Xbox has. They're obviously the most punctual, the most timely, the ones who have the best Metacritic. They can get out a game every 2 years. Now you're building your second studio to do an open world RPG. Look how long it's taken 343 to get out the next Halo game, 4 or 5 years. The Coalition is up there as well because they can seemingly put out a Gears game quite often, but now they got another great studio in Playground Games. And the next one was truly a surprise, truly. They're a great developer. They've made Devil May Cry and Hellblade, and I've already seen some fanboys really upset about this on Twitter. I've seen it already start tweeting at Ninja Theory to say, oh my God, I can't believe it. You betrayed us. But Microsoft actually bought Ninja Theory, which was a complete shocker. This is a studio that makes quality games on a low budget, and now they have the entirety of Microsoft behind them. If you watch the video, which I did, where Ninja Theory talks about why they agreed to get bought out, it was for the security, but they also said, we want complete creative control of what we make, and Microsoft agreed to it. So now they're hiring up for their next game. They're probably going to be making a ton of new IPs for Microsoft. So that's another thing that's about like really cool about this is you're going to see a lot of new IPs from these studios. Ninja Theory is going to make one. Playground Games potentially can make one down the road. Undead Labs. It really just kind of hammered home the fact that Microsoft is really about building first party and gearing up for the future. So for all those people out there that said they weren't, for all the people out there that said they were getting out of the business, for all the people out there that wanted to see action and not just words, this segment right here should have just totally sold you on Xbox being a player for the foreseeable future. And if you're still going out everywhere and talking down about it, then nothing will ever satisfy you. I've told you the games were coming years from now. Looks like they are. I told you they were buying first-party studios. Looks like they are. I've told you that there's going to be a lack of exclusives for the next couple of years, and it looks like that's the case as well, because that is just video games. They take forever to make. You know, people praise God of War, but God of War took 5 years. So did Horizon Zero Dawn. And yes, it's unfortunate that it took Microsoft this long to get to that point, but we've talked about it before. There was behind-the-scenes things that happened that prevented Xbox from truly being what it needed to be or being the behemoth that it is. Shout out to Zaire for that quote. But those are gone now. There's no more excuses. The money's flowing. The studios are being bought. So that is pretty damn awesome in my opinion. Shout out to the Ravenflow for the super chat. He says, Ninja Theory deserves this. A lot of their games are great, but flop. That's right. A lot of their games are amazing. Enslaved, Odyssey of the West is a gem from last generation that nobody bought. I am so pumped to see what Ninja Theory puts out going forward. So pumped. And then finally, they also announced Compulsion Games, which makes We Happy Few. I'm not that big of a fan of We Happy Few, but a lot of people do seem to like it. So this is like the one announcement out of all these studios that was kind of just like, not that big of a fan, but who knows what they can build in the future. So that segment, like I was sitting there, I was like, okay, Microsoft showed me the one thing I needed to see, a commitment to first party in the future. And they showed it in spades. I thought we'd get one studio. I thought it would be Daryl Gallagher's and Playground. I didn't expect 3 more. So they went above and beyond my expectations. But back to the list of stuff here. They showed off We Happy Few, which, like I said, I'm not that much of a fan. Shout out to Inferno in chat that he says that We Happy Few has changed a ton since the early game preview release. Yeah, I haven't played it since then, so you know, I'll probably check it out when it fully launches. Then they showed a trailer off for PUBG. Said console launch exclusive, so that obviously, I mean, if you needed more evidence that it's coming to PlayStation at some point, well, there you go. Sandhook, the map is coming summer of this year, which is great. And then winter of 2018 looks like the snow map. So the content's coming for PUBG. I just need that optimization now, guys. Please. I just need the optimization. Every 3 games I play on Xbox, we crash. Last night, me and Magic were playing. He's driving along the street. Gopher's in the car next to me. There's 30 people left. We have a total of 20 kills between us. And he literally crashes while we're driving the car in our 3rd game in a row. Unacceptable that the issues PUBG has on Xbox. Completely unacceptable. Especially when you have other games run much better. Like Fortnite runs at like 4K 60. All these other games, like Far Cry 5 is like native 4K, 30 frames locked, and here's PUBG. Can't even hit 30 frames half the time. It's just a technical mess. Fix it. Come on. I'm on the X, goddammit, and I get frame rate problems all the time. The thing crashes all the time. Fix your game. I don't care that it's in game preview. It's been in game preview for half a year now. Fix your game. Anyways, that's my PUBG rant for the day. Tales of Vesperia, man, Gopher freaked out about this game. This is a Tales game. I think I've only ever played one Tales game, Not really sure, not really remembering what it was, but once again, commitment to um and my dog is crying upstairs. I can hear him. I can hear him, but he'll have to wait. Tales of Vesperia, another kind of Japanese commitment to Microsoft, or not Microsoft, but Xbox in general. Division 2, they showed off a gameplay demo very similar to the first one with that fake gamer talk. That's what I really don't like about Ubisoft. I enjoy their games, but when they demo their games, it's always with that fake gamer talk. Hey, Rod, you got a guy coming in on your left. Thanks, Martha. Did you see that guy over there? Did you get his XP? Yeah. How about that gun over there? Like, it's so fake. They do it for Rainbow Six Siege. They did it for Division. They did it for Ghost Recon. It's just so cringy because nobody talks like that when they play. It's entirely exaggerated. But the Division 2 looks pretty damn awesome. It's coming out March 15th of next year. Man, like I said, beginning of next year, the first 3 months are getting jam-packed. And then we came to the Xbox Game Pass segment. The girl on stage, clearly, like, first time talking in front of a huge audience, not only in person, but on stage. She was a little bit shook, but it worked. Fast starts coming in June, where you can, like, get into your games much faster. Xbox has always kind of had that issue about installing games and things like that. Master Chief Collection, Ashen, Warhammer, and Afterparty are all coming day one in Game Pass. And Division, Elder Scrolls Online, and Fallout 4 were launching first in Game Pass. They want this segment there, even though this could have been in a Xbox Newswire post. They want Game Pass front and center because it is essential and important to Microsoft's strategy going forward. Granted, they didn't really have any big third-party announcements like I predicted in my video. I thought maybe, Tomb Raider would be in Game Pass or something else would be there. But I guess that's going to take time. Microsoft needs to prove to the bigger developers that Game Pass is legitimate and it won't cut into the sales of their $60 versions. So they want that out there. They want gamers to know about it. They want more people to think about Game Pass as an investment and actually jump in. And, it's cool that Ashen and Warhammer and Afterparty are all going to be there day one, including all the Microsoft first-party stuff. So the Game Pass segment was maybe the lowest point of the show, but that's because it could have just been an article. Otherwise, the rest of the stuff was great. The ID at Xbox segment, it was a montage of a bunch of different games. I'd have to rewatch it to tell you what was coming, but hey, I love indie games. I review them here in my Rand's Indie Spotlight. Haven't been doing a lot of them because I've been pretty busy, but when there is an indie game that really kind of catches my eye, I normally will check it out. The recent one I did was Shape of the World, but there just hasn't been much this year. But you know what I mean? There just hasn't been stuff this year. Quitopsy wants to know, what is your take on Xbox fanboys hyping Microsoft having bought indie devs like State of Decay 2 devs when gamers ask for high quality games? I just kind of talked about that. We'll talk about that a little bit more towards the end because it's just a sign that Microsoft isn't fooling around. Yeah, you could argue that Undead Labs is an indie developer that makes okay games, but Playground Games and Ninja Theory are top tier. Like, Playground Games is one of the best studios out there, and Ninja Theory is even though they're an indie developer, they're a proven developer who makes really quality games. And the studio they're building with Daryl Gallagher, with him in charge, that's going to be a AAA studio. Hell, it was quantified in the recruitment stuff as a quadruple A studio. I think people just wanted to see Microsoft's commitment to first party, and they proved it over and over and over again during that segment. Five new studios. What else do you? What else is there to talk about? Not all those studios are on the same obviously level, but it shows the commitment. But let's keep going. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, they had a trailer coming out September 14th. I was a little bit surprised that that wasn't the gameplay trailer, but that's okay. Session, for 1 second when Session was showing off, I thought it was Skate 4. I thought it was Skate 4, but I was like, wait a minute, it didn't say EA at the beginning. And it was like a console launch exclusive. I'm like, there's no way this is Skate 4, but it really did resemble Skate 4, and people have been asking for that from Microsoft, or not from Microsoft, but from EA for a while. People were disappointed that EA didn't show off Skate 4 because the Skate 3 servers are back online and stuff like that. So for all of you who are really big Skate fans, it looks like Session might be that game. Then they also showed off Black Desert Online, and other console launch exclusive. That's cool. That's cool. I mean, I'm not really interested in that game, but it's once again more support for those games like it. I think it's a Japanese title, but that's cool. And then we get a shocker: Devil May Cry 5. All the insiders said Devil May Cry 5 was going to be at Sony's show. I predicted it would be at Sony's show. I even said it was exclusive at one point based on what I had heard. Shows up here at Microsoft's, basically just shutting down all those rumors and insiders that it was a PlayStation exclusive, and it looked really good. At first, I was like, wait a minute, is this Devil May Cry DMC 2? Because the main character looked kind of similar, but of course, at the end, you actually had like Dante show up. So this is obviously a sequel to 4, because the main character they were showing was Nero with the arm. But man, that trailer was killing it, man. I was getting hyped. My buddy Gopher was like screaming in my ear. That's coming out spring of 2019. And it just made me think, like, all these games here is like, man, what is Sony going to show tomorrow? Microsoft grabbed all these third parties to show everybody that, hey, the best place to play all these games is Xbox. You know, we want people to know that all this stuff is here. And Sony's already said, hey, we have 4 games we're showing deep dive in. I wonder if those deep dives of those 4 games tomorrow are going to last upwards of 50 minutes and they just don't have time for anything else. I wonder about that. We'll see if that comes true tomorrow. Still excited to see what Sony's offering. Last of Us 2 is, right up there for Ori with me, which I said earlier. Cuphead DLC, which is great. People love Cuphead. It's a great game, one of the best from last year. Nice to see them actually add more bosses, add more islands. It did say console exclusive, which made me kind of think that, could the DLC come elsewhere? Could the game come elsewhere? I know they've said before that it's a console exclusive forever to Xbox. Does that mean that the DLC is going to hit Xbox and Windows 10 first and then come to Steam later? Or does it mean Cuphead's coming to PlayStation and maybe Switch later? I'm not really sure what all that stuff, but it doesn't really matter because it's fucking Cuphead DLC, bruh. That game was killing it. I love Cuphead. Nice to see the support from them. Would be great to see online co-op announced for Cuphead. I was a little bit disappointed when Unravel 2 came out yesterday, when they showed it off and it was local co-op. It's a complete missed opportunity. And I really want to see Cuphead have online co-op because that game would be pretty awesome. They showed off Tunic, which actually looked pretty cool. Everybody in my party was like, hey, that looks really cool. And then Phil got up on stage again and said that everything after has never been seen before. So that's going to be, I got really excited. I'm like, okay, here we go. We're going to check out all this stuff. Todd wants to know if I'll be live again after Bethesda. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they announce and we'll see what time it is. I haven't really decided yet, but I'll probably do, if I don't go live, I'll definitely do a video tomorrow about it. I'll be doing a whole bunch of videos because I got all these ideas about what I actually want to talk about in a more kind of focused manner. This was just going over everything. So they said Bankai Namco, and then I saw Naruto, and my friends who are anime fans in the party started like creaming them, like, oh my god, an open world Naruto, right? Oh my god. But then they showed the dude from Dragon Ball, and it ended up looking like a fighting game called Jump Force 2019. It looked like Dragon Ball Fighter Z to me, which looked pretty cool, but I don't really know much about anime. So I don't know what, I mean, people who love anime and love those characters and the fighting games, they're going to be incredibly stoked to play that, when it comes out next year. So I honestly, for me though, it didn't really do anything for me. And then they showed off Dying Light 2. Looked pretty cool. Didn't really show any combat that much, but more showed off the consequences of choice, about how things change if you do one thing versus another. The parkour system still looked incredible, so that was nice to see. They didn't really show off any zombie stuff until the very end. So Dying Light 2, which they didn't give a date either, so who knows when that's coming out. And then Battletoads. Like, I saw, like, when I was watching, I'm like, the Mad Lads did it. They're actually bringing back Battletoads, and I thought I saw Rare say that Dahlia Studio is making it, so it's not Rare. Don't even know what type of game it is. And it's just weird to say that in 2019, we are getting a Battletoads game. I mean, they've been teasing it for a while. Rare Replay having the Battletoads games in it. Rash being in Killer Instinct and stuff like that. It's just really kind of weird that we are getting a Battletoads game. Incredibly weird. So that's coming out next year, 2019. Next game up was Just Cause 4 on December 4th. Looked like a cool trailer. Not that big into Just Cause games, but it's another game to add to the list of all the games coming out in the holiday. And then we get into the Gears of War segment. And honestly, when it's funny because when I was watching it and the logo came up, people cheered. I don't know if you guys heard it in the audience, but people were like, "Yeah, Gears!" And then that version of Marcus Phoenix, like a pop version of him, popped out, and I could hear the audience just deflate. My buddy in my ear was like, "No, oh God, no, oh God, no! What is this? What's going on?" And it was a phone game. Thank God they spent a minute on it, because I laughed EA out of the building when they spent a whole bunch of gameplay time and segments on Command and Conquer's Rivals. Thank God they spent literally like a minute on Gears Pop. But like I said, this all fits into Microsoft strategy, which we'll talk about here in a second. Then they showed off the Gears spinoff, which I've heard so much about, that a Gears XCOM game was coming. It's called Gears Tactics. It's by Splash Damage, and it's a Windows 10 PC exclusive game. Sounds like it's not coming out for Xbox, and I'm sure a lot of people will be disappointed in that. I don't know. I don't really care about XComs. It'd be interesting to have. I'm kind of curious to see what the reasoning behind that is. But so you got those Gears Pop and Gears Tactics, and then they showed off Gears 5, which I'm actually really interested in. It kind of looked like a different type of Gears, not the same formula. So it's coming out next year too. So Gears actually jumped Halo, which is kind of what I kind of thought it would, with what, they were trying to, like, their studio seems to be able to get through games pretty fast. They did 2 years turnaround on Gears 4. Looks like almost another 2 years turnaround on Gears 5, especially with Halo Infinite having no dates. It looks like 3-4 or Coalition knows what they're doing. So excited to see that. And then Phil came back up on stage to end the show, and he talked about their commitment. He basically went over everything that they did, everything that they showed, and it was fine. It was fine. But then they actually talked about the next consoles were being made, right? That the next like Xbox, like he said, their hardware engineers are neck deep in the next Xbox, which basically confirms another system. Once again, putting down the people that said Microsoft is exiting the video game industry. If anybody who says that just doesn't know, they're just dumb. Honestly, at this point, if you think Microsoft isn't playing for keeps, if they're not focused on next generation, if they're, if they're just suddenly going to give up and roll over, well, I don't know what you've been paying attention to. You've been listening to some pretty dumb people. You've been listening to me. You should have saw this stuff coming. This is things we've been talking about forever on this channel, and we got to all see it materialize right before our eyes today. Now, the whole Gears thing, which I'll get back to, is just another confirmation of Microsoft's focus. They're not necessarily focused solely on Xbox anymore. They also want to broaden their horizons to phone and PC. Phil talked about how they are working on console quality streaming to phone, which is that Xbox Cloud Gaming division. It's all right there. They're going to be building games for mobile. They're going to be building games for the PC, exclusive or not. But they're also still going to be building games for Xbox. Microsoft's focus is clearly everywhere. Like, it's not only Xbox, but it's also PC, and it's also phone. Well, that's how you reach 2 billion people. And that's their strategy going forward. It just kind of is what it is. And the new Xbox, a hint that, hey, even though we are going to be chasing after the mobile market and we're going to bring our games everywhere, we're still going to build a system that is incredibly powerful, that can play the games the best. They kind of said that, going forward, they are going to have the power advantage. I didn't say when the system was going to come out. They just said that they're working on it, but they made a commitment to keep the power. So even though in the future you might be able to play Gears 5 on your phone, stream through Xbox Cloud Gaming, you'll be able to play Gears 5 on your PC at 8K and 60 frames or 140 frames, but you'll also be able to play, the new Gears 5 on the next system. So it's the commitment to it that really matters. The new Xbox being teased was great, and then I actually really like how they ended it. Like being hacked and showing off Cyberpunk 2077, which was another prediction I got right in my video. I said Cyberpunk would end the show. Pretty cool. Nice to see a trailer for that. I am so excited for that stuff. Now, that is all the good. I thought the conference was damn awesome. I would give it a 9 out of 10. The only reason I didn't think it was a 10 out of 10 is because, and this is when we get into the bad aspect of it, right? Is once again 3 years in a row, no new IP. Still not acceptable. I understand the situation behind it. I truly do, because I've been talking about it. But 3 years in a row, no new IP is not something I want to see. Even though there is a ton of third-party content here, ton of great stuff, the fact that we haven't seen a new IP in 3 years does bother me a little bit. So if I'm going to talk about everything that I think it was good here, I also got to think about some of the things that weren't as good. And no new IP is not a good thing. But clearly, it will be coming, like I've said. They bought 5 studios, and those studios are going to make tons of new IPs. So the future is bright. And honestly, the lack of exclusives for this year and next year are worrisome. After Crackdown got delayed, literally the only exclusive left is Forza Horizon 4, with Ashen being a console launch exclusive. So the rest of this year is pretty barren as far as exclusive content on Xbox, which is a shame. Maybe it's gonna. I don't even know if this year, because then you got to compare this year to last year, and it's like, I don't know what's gonna. You have Sea of Thieves, State of Decay, and Forza Horizon 4, and last year was Halo Wars, Forza Motorsport 7, and I don't know what else. I mean, it looks like both. Both years aren't exactly great, but I knew this was going to happen. I said it was going to happen. And 2019, honestly, you're going to have Gears 5. I think is going to be great. You're going to have Ori, which I'm going to love. You're going to have Cuphead, DLC. What else? What else is 2019 from Xbox? Battletoads. I mean, it's not that much more, but like I said before, external factors, internal factors about why it wasn't going to happen. But the reason I rated it so high was because of the presentation, because of the flow, because of all the games they showed. But more importantly, I rated it a 9 out of 10 because Microsoft confirmed that they are committed to Xbox. And it wasn't just words this time. It was money being spent. It was studios being bought. That was what I needed to see, and that is what I saw. So that stuff all takes precedence over the fact that there is not a lot of exclusives for this year. There is not going to be a lot of exclusives for next year. There wasn't a new IP. So in my opinion, I thought Microsoft did exactly what they needed to do. And I already see people here questioning my 9 out of 10, and that's fine. You don't have to agree with me. Other people like it more. Other people will like it less. But it's just my opinion at the end of the day. I'm not going to say yours is wrong. You could come out and say it's a 7 out of 10 or a 5 out of 10. I'm not going to dispute you on this. Everybody's, right to their own opinions. I'm just saying for me, it's basically just confirmation of what we've been talking about on this channel. And seeing words turn into actions was incredibly important. I just still know that the exclusive situation isn't going to be better anytime soon. And I've said that before. If this doesn't really make you excited for the next Xbox, I don't know what will. And we'll see. I mean, I know Sony's conference is coming up, and I am greatly looking forward to that show, and that show might be a 9 as well. This isn't really a competition between companies. I just want to see the games, and Sony's going to show some quality exclusives that I'm probably going to enjoy, and I'm like, hey, this conference was pretty damn awesome. But Microsoft was the one, being an Xbox fan, that um, I wanted to see commitment. I wanted to see Phil get out there and be like, we are doing this now. We are not talking about it now. The talking is over. Now it's about building games. Now it's about building for the future. And it's done. Studios are built. The games will come. I don't know what I mean. I don't know what else to say after that. Yeah, sure, it's disappointing that some of the exclusives for the next couple of years, especially when compared to Sony's, aren't going to be that plentiful. But this is something I already knew. But I always call everything the way I see it, man. If Sony has a great show tomorrow, I'm going to say they had a great show. I was just really excited. I mean, they showed. I mean, the show was. Go watch this show and then compare it to EA's show and tell me this show was just not miles better than EA's. It's probably going to be miles better than Bethesda's. It's probably going to be better than Square Enix's, just based on the presentation and pacing and everything in here. But I'm excited for what they're doing in the future, honestly. The highlight of the show for me, indie gamer, was Microsoft buying those studios. I don't think I ever remember a moment at E3 where a console manufacturer came out and be like, yo, here's our new studios, and just 5 of them. Especially considering that's what people wanted. That's what people, when we do Xbox 2 and I see the chat, that's what people talk about. They want to see more stuff from Microsoft first party. They want to see great games from them. They want to build up the first party. And here's Microsoft doing it. And I mean, I don't know. I give them all the praise in the world for actually putting money where their mouth is. Now those studios got to go and make great games. Because if those games are bad, I'm going to say they're bad. But I think they'll be awesome. I don't know. Hit me up with some questions. We're going to talk about some stuff. If you have anything you want me to answer, I definitely will. So hit me up. What Up says, yes, this answer is studio question. I'm happy about that. Me too. Millennial Maddie says, yeah, you want more, but what do you get now? Not 4 years down the road. Come on, man. I mean, I said that. I've been saying that for months now. I said that the exclusives were going to be sparse the next couple years. This isn't a known thing. This is something I've literally said was going to happen. But I wanted to see the commitment from Microsoft. I wanted to see the money spent, and that's exactly what they showed. And I said, hey, no new IP is still unforgivable. 3 years in a row. That is bad, in my opinion. That is bad. There's no spinning that. I just really enjoyed their show. It was the best one they've had this generation. Suroshot says, do you think Remedy will showcase P7 on Stony Sage? Yeah, I thought Remedy would be here for sure, but who knows? Maybe Sony wants them on their stage, or maybe they won't be at anybody's stage. Maybe the game's not that good. I don't know. Meta Chronicler says, Rand, they should have intimidated about next gen on the stage show. They shouldn't or should have. I mean, all they really said was that we're building new hardware. They didn't really say when it's coming, just that, hey, it's coming at some point, which is something we all already know. I mean, Sony literally has talked about it in their press investor stuff. It's not like it's not a secret. And Microsoft just it just goes along with the narrative that here's the first party stuff we're building, and we're also building new consoles. So for people thinking that we're getting out of the gaming industry, they're 100% wrong, because we're not. We're building the new consoles and we're building first party. So wait till E3, not wait till next gen. I'm not a fan of saying wait till whatever. Todd wants to know what breed is my dog. We have a purebred bull mastiff, and he's crying like a baby upstairs, but too bad. I already took him out and fed him. Little baby dog. He doesn't want. He needs somebody to go up there and pet him. Let's see. Solar Waves wants to know, do you think Playground should make a dirt rally race since most of Horizon is spent off road? No, I think they should make what they're making. Maybe you can have a dirt rally racer as DLC of some kind or something. But I'm happy with what they're doing. White Ninja Deity wants to know, don't you think they need to show more of Crackdown to keep fans excited? Yes, I think they needed to show more of Crackdown. Maybe it's playable at the show floor. I think not showing the cloud multiplayer destruction stuff is concerning. I honestly do. I think it's very concerning that they aren't showing the MP, which makes me think that might have issues. So yeah. OBJ says, I enjoyed the conference. Studio announcements were encouraging, but we're going on 6 years into the gen without a new blockbuster first-party IP. 7 out of 10. Hey, you're not wrong. I'm glad you enjoyed the show, and this first studio announcements were pretty damn awesome. But if you're looking for that new blockbuster first part, yeah, they haven't done it. I mean, it is what it is. You gave it a 7, I gave it a 9. Not that far apart. Not that far apart. But hey, OBJ, at least you didn't come on here and say it was straight garbage. Right? Like EA's from yesterday. Cypress Smurf wants to know, how do you feel about Halo Infinite's new engine? Yeah, they're using like the slip space engine. I'm not really sure. I'd have to see what the gameplay looks like before I make a judgment call on the engine they're using. Gopher wants to know, hype level for Sony conference versus hype level for Ubisoft. Well, I am hyped to see new Splinter Cell. That is true. But hype level for Sony, I mean, it's still through the roof. They still have The Last of Us 2, which is my most anticipated game. I still want to see what Death Stranding is. Like, that game is a mystery, so seeing the gameplay is going to be awesome. Ghost of Tsushima looks incredible. Can't wait to see gameplay. I mean, Sony has some quality games that I want to see more of. So I'm more hyped for Sony than I am for Ubisoft. But, man, if Ubisoft brings that Splinter Cell, though, might be a different story. Might be a different story. Critopsy wants to know, why do I give credit to Microsoft for having the same multiplats as everybody else? What do you mean? Like everybody shows multiplats at their conferences, from Xboxes to Sony. I was talking about the overall show, the show itself, the presentation, the pacing. It's all great, and that includes the content shown, whether it's third party or first party. And I did say, yeah, the lack of first party was disappointing. The lack of no new IP is disappointing as well. But the announcements of the first party studios is something that I have been looking forward to. It's what I said when I started off this thing, was one of the things I was looking forward to. So I judge it on the merit of the entire show, which includes both first and third. And I do the same for Sony's as well. And I do the same for Nintendo's. It's the entirety of the press conference. I mean, I guess you could break it down to be like, hey, what did Microsoft show, and rate that? Hey, what about third-party show, and rate that? What about the overall show? Considering this is an hour-long event. I'm not giving Microsoft credit for having those games on there. I'm giving them credit for having a great show from top to bottom with cool-looking games that was paced incredibly well. That's what I mean. The content takes a back seat to pacing. No, the content doesn't take a back seat to pacing. Were you bored while watching the show? Because I wasn't. I was bored 10 minutes into watching EA's show. Are you mad they didn't show Fable 4? No, not really. Fable's years away at this point. I'm not upset they didn't show it. So not really. No, not at all. Let's see. What other questions we got here? Rand, where is the VR support? Probably not coming. I doubt I don't think they want to do VR, because I don't think VR is popular enough. Nobody really seems to care about VR. So I don't think they're going to dedicate resources to trying to make VR a thing on Xbox at this point. I don't know. Callie Rex wants to know, do you think Xbox will move the release date with Kingdom Hearts 3 releasing in January and Anthem and Days Gone releasing in February? Yeah, there's a big, huge clusterfuck in February, isn't there? I expect someone to move, whether it's Crackdown moving or Days Gone moving or Anthem or but all those games, they're not coming out that same day for sure. Nier says, I'm actually excited that we got Nier and Tales of Vesperia coming to the conference. Was great, 9 out of 10. I mean, there's a bunch of people here I'm reading in chat that really liked the show, and then some people that didn't. It is what it is. I'm not saying my opinion's the right opinion. I'm just saying that it's my opinion. You know what I mean? And you're right, OBJ. That Gears of War pop thing, I was about to flip my crap if that was an actual like console game and that was the Gears game. But it was a phone game that gave like 1 minute to, so it's whatever. I truly was like, what the hell is this? And you should have heard everybody in my party. You should have heard Gopher. Gopher is like, no, 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 no. This is no. But Gears 5 did look pretty cool, and it's coming next year, so we're gonna get it sooner rather than later. Yeah, so much talk about Gears XCOM, yet it's not even coming to Xbox. Yeah, there is that too. The fact that that Gears Tactics game is not even coming to Xbox. But we've seen that kind of, Miami Street didn't come to Xbox. Now this game's not coming to Xbox. Just remember what I said, that Microsoft's focus is everything, PC and phone. They want to reach you wherever you are. Phil said if there's Windows exclusives that feel right, they'll do that. I know it sucks that all the Xbox games are on PC and that PC gamers do get exclusives. And I don't know really what to say to that. I mean, it is what it is. Age of Empires will be on PC. Gears Tactics will be on PC. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that other than that's what Microsoft's strategy is. Crackdown 3 just got a release date on February 22nd on Twitter. Really? That can't be true. There's no way they announced the release date of February 22nd. That's gotta be not true. That'd be 4 games. There's no way that happens. There is no way. I don't see anything on here, but okay, yeah, I guess I see some people talking about it on February 22nd. So that might be real. Yeah, they probably need to move. It was already big. It was already packed enough with it was already packed with just Anthem and Days Gone. Now you add Metro and now you add Crackdown through it. Yeah, that's too many games. Not happening. Not happen. Some of those games need to move. Some of those games definitely need to move. And I was actually planning a video about it, so that even gives me more to talk about, because you cannot have 4 of those games come out the same day. Not at all. So I'll try to get more confirmation about that. But anyways, guys, I didn't want to stay on here for very long. Unfortunately, couldn't really have anybody else on here to do a, go back and forth with. We'll be doing one with Jez on Wednesday where we'll go over all the shows, and I'm sure Jez will be elated to talk about Xbox. But the takeaway for me was just, the promise that and the commitment of showing that Microsoft is in it for the long haul, that next gen is what they're really focused on at this point. And hopefully that all just, answers a ton of people's questions about what exactly was Microsoft's commitment to Xbox. Now you know the answer to it. Well, they're going all in. Yeah, it's still disappointing that the exclusive lineup for Xbox is small, that there's not a lot this year and next year, that there was no new IP shown, but I think them buying the studios kind of overrides, or at least is just a bigger thing than that. At least for me. It may not be for you, and I'm not saying it is for you, but for me, I thought it was their best show this generation by far. And yeah, happy to, see what's coming down the road. Excited to watch Bethesda tonight. Excited to watch Sony and Ubisoft and everything tomorrow. Excited to see what the future of gaming holds. So I really enjoyed the show. I hope you guys did too. Make sure you leave a comment below about what you liked about this show. I'll make sure to check it out. And if you enjoyed this little hangout, give it a thumbs up. Sub to the channel if you're new. Hi, I'm Rand. I do a whole bunch of videos. And yeah, hit the notification bell, all that stuff. Thank you guys for watching. Be back maybe tonight for Bethesda. I don't really know yet. But I'm sure I'll tweet it out on Twitter. So thanks, guys, and we'll see you later.